Good morning everyone and welcome to South Africa. This is the legendary Black Mamba. Woo! And this right here is obviously a very small one, so considered a baby version of a Black Mamba. Now even though they're this small right now, as you can see, they're fully equipped with neurotoxic venom. Okay, so that venom will basically affect your nervous system. And talk about nervous, this snake is highly nervous. Do you see this? Just a little movement there by me and the snake is going ballistic. That's what this snake is very notorious for. It's very nervous behavior. And in fact, the venom of this little snake here would be enough, like far enough, just one drop of venom would be enough to kill about 2 to 4 fully grown adult humans. Can you believe it? And even when they come out of the egg, they're able to give you a proper bite that is enough to kill a couple people, which is absolutely crazy. So I'm trying to get back into frame here. Whew, and you can obviously see the color of the snake. It's not black. It's like a grayish brown. And the name comes from the inside of the Black Mamba's mouth, because the inside is pitch black. And the name Mamba is actually a Swahili name. And it translates to crocodile. What a legendary snake. And now this is not the snake that kills more people here in Africa than any other snake. It's just the stories that you hear about the snake that make it so notorious. It's stories from people all over the world, especially though here in Africa, that say that this snake is falling out of trees. That this snake is basically biting people just because it's bloodthirsty, whatever. It's complete bullshit, of course. These animals, they want to get away from us. You can see it's trying to get away from me. And not towards me. Whoa, that's like a little bit defensive behavior, and they can flatten out a bit. Just like the cobras do. They can actually flatten out a little bit as a defensive display to make themselves look bigger. You can see they're very nervous. They don't sit still. They want to get away quick. And in fact, the Black Mamba is the fastest moving snake on the planet. They're known to cruise with speeds up to 20 kilometers per hour, which is good for us because when we walk through the bush, they're deaf. They can't hear us, but they sense vibration on the ground. So as we walk, they detect us walking, and then they take off with lightning speed and just check out the way it's balancing on this hook stick. They're also arboreal. They're both found on the ground and also up in trees. And if you look at the belly of the snake, it's much lighter than the upper color. And that is for camouflage. So when you look up, ooh, now it's flattening out on me. You see this little hood? And there's so many snakes here in Africa that have this coloration. So you don't look at the color to identify a snake. What you're looking at is the head. And look at the head. It's a coffin-shaped head. Long head with medium-sized eyes and a smiley mouth. And that is how you identify the legendary Black Mamba. Woo. Awesome little snake. Now say hello to my little friend. This right here is a baby, what we call Taiwanese Beauty Rat Snake. Look at the size of it. This is like about even 1 year old, even though it's still quite small. And it can grow up to about like 1.80 meters, 1.90 meters in length. And the reason why I call it a beauty rat snake is just the color. Look at this color of the snake here. I'm going to try to get it nicely in focus. There you go. So here it's like black spots, and then if you go further in the body, you see it's like a yellow line. Beautiful snake. And also you can see the tail here is very small and slender, and they use that for hooking on and climbing. You know, so they wrap it around something and you just hold on to it, because obviously they don't got no arms, no legs. Beautiful snake. So check this out, what we got here. It's actually not a snake, it's a scorpion. And this one right here is called the flat rock scorpion. It's a very common scorpion here in Southern Africa. Here it comes. And this one is like, I'd say, a juvenile, so they get almost twice as big as this. They were also known as the largest scorpion in the world, going up to 22 centimeters. But in fact, then they discovered there's another scorpion species. They can go up to like 23 centimeters in length. Look at this one here. It's like a lot of earth on this one. Get off. Look at the stinger here. You can see there's a stinger. Very small. And the pincers, they're really, really big compared to that. So that's like a basic rule with scorpions. That if they have really big pincers and very small stinger, then they overpower their prey not with venom, but just with the force of those pincers. So that means that this one right here would not be a big threat. Of course it's venomous, like all scorpions or spiders, but they won't like kill you. It's like a bee sting, you know, pretty much. And also they have 8 legs because they belong to the same family like spiders. They're also arachnids. So you can see they have 8 legs. Here's 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one's just underneath the pincer here. And they have what we call an exoskeleton. So basically they don't have bones like us, but they actually have their bones are here on the outside. This is their skeleton basically, protecting all the vital organs on the inside. And interesting is the mouth. I don't know if you can see the mouth here. You can look at this in the front here. That's like the mouth. So they take with those pincers their prey and push it right there, and then they just eat it. And prey that they would eat is like insects. But they can also eat bigger prey, like of course scorpions or smaller reptiles. And they just basically rip them apart with these pincers here. Ooh. It's a wild species here, the scorpion. And also look at all those hairs on them. They're basically detecting vibration both on the ground and in the air. So as I speak, we hear with our ears. You know, it's almost the same thing. They basically sense everything with their hairs on their body. As I move my hand, it causes vibrations in the air and the scorpion picks that up. So without visual information, it knows that I'm moving my hand, which is wild. Interesting. That's why I never blow at them, like, you know, because it's like shouting in our ears, you know. They don't like that. Alright, really interesting one. The flat-rock scorpion. Okay, back in you go. Alright guys, so now let's just feed the Snouted Cobra. It's my favorite. It's called C15. That's a big one. So we got like 3 mice here. That's like a big portion for this one. So they cannot eat like big rats or something because they have a relatively small head. So even though this one here is about 1.80 meters, 2 meters almost, which is quite a good size for the Snouted Cobra, they can also go up to about 2.5 meters, but still they have relatively small head. Oh, it's gonna be crazy. So basically this one right here was just biting the paper, was missing the mouse because they have a very bad eyesight. And check out the paper. Ooh, big loads of venom on this one. Check it out here. You can see the paper right there. Look at this, you see this? Can't focus on it, there you go. That's a big drop of venom right there. Also on the other side, you can see where the fangs went in, right? This right here, there was one fang. The other fang went in right in there. This venom load, I would say this is about, like, no problem at all. It's definitely at least 1 drop on the other side as well. This would be enough to kill about 4 to 6 humans. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Alright guys, so now we are on our way outside of the reptile park to go on what I call like an adventure walk. Alright, you're gonna see what we can find. Maybe we're gonna find a big African lion. Maybe we're gonna come across a Snouted Cobra, Black Mamba, or maybe just a couple of ants. I don't know. It's an adventure walk, so we'll see what we can come up with there. Maybe a polar bear or something. This right here is a very typical picture in Africa. You walk through the bush, and everywhere you walk, you're gonna have thorns sticking into your arms or legs. It's wild out here in Africa, so when you walk, you better bring long clothing, and you're gonna get hooked everywhere. So this right here what we call a wait-a-bit tree. Now the reason they call this right here the wait-a-bit tree is because you can see the thorns are actually back curved. So when you walk and you get into this tree like I was here, you basically have to wait a bit, then walk. It's hard to film out here. Then you have to walk backwards a bit to get those thorns unhooked. and then you can actually continue to walk, you know, because those thorns are back curved. And in fact, when you look out here, there are thorns everywhere. Almost every plant here has thorns on them, and that is because of all the big amount of herbivores in Africa, like impala and kudu and buffalo and elephants and rhinos, and they of course feed on all these plants. Now they still do, so you might think that thorns are actually useless, but they're actually not, because impala, for example, or buffalo, what they do is actually they eat around the thorns, so they don't eat the entire plant, but they rather take those little green leaves carefully, and the actual plant will still be there, will still be alive. Only elephants, for example, they actually go ahead and eat the entire plant. And also rhinos, even with thorns. These are wild animals, I'm gonna tell you, you know, really wild animals. Check this out. Whoo! This right here is like some leftovers from horns of a some sort of antelope. I'm not quite sure which kind of antelope. I'm not a herbivore expert there, but really incredible. As you can see, it was just ripped off the skull. So these horns obviously are attached to the skull. As you can see here, it was just ripped off or something. So I reckon maybe some people want to keep these. And this is like a very good source out here in the wild for a lot of different species. For example, for reptiles like tortoises, they would go ahead and eat on these bones because it's a great source of calcium for them, you know. Really good to have something like this out here. So bones, of course, are not useless. A lot of animals take that as source of calcium, including some reptile species like tortoises. Really good. And you can also see just the incredible sharpness of these bones. It's really like incredibly sharp. Now imagine you're gonna be stabbed by this. Ah, this is a very good defense. You know, horns, they're not useless, man. You know, they're really. I mean, if this thing goes through you, it's done for you, eh? Wild. Now check this out right here. This. You might actually confuse with something else. You might actually think that it was just a stone falling into the sand or something. But that right here is an incredible architecture of what we call the ant lions. So there are ant lion species all over the world on different continents. But here in Africa you can find them everywhere. And where I'm from in Europe, you basically don't ever see them. So these holes here are actually created by the larva of the ant lion. And this is like a trap for ants, so that's what I call the ant lion. So basically, they wait until the ant is coming into the hole, it falls in there, and then the hole basically collapses. And the ant lion will emerge from underneath this hole and grab the ant and suck out the juices basically. You know, this is how they grow. And then after a couple of weeks, they will basically emerge, those ant lions with wings, and they will be an adult species of ant lion. And I didn't just destroy the life of that larva. In fact, they can build a hole like this in just a minute, you know, so it's really efficient. They're just gonna start building a new one, so there's not a big issue with that. So we didn't see a lion or polar bear today, but you know, still, it's these small things you have to look out for. And the ant lion is actually part of what we call the small five, you know. Alright guys, so thank you for watching this video, season 1 of LBwildlife, which is called Strike. So there are plenty more videos coming up with incredibly venomous snake species out here in the wild. It's gonna be incredible, so make sure to subscribe because you don't want to miss out on that. Also, make sure to like the video to support LBwildlife and wildlife conservation. My name is Lars and I thank you for joining me on this journey, and I will see you next time.